Hello everyone, welcome to Sunya IAS and welcome to this lecture. Today we are going to discuss a very important topic. Every time I say that it's a very important topic, but this series is such that every time we are discussing a topic, there is high probability that you will either get that topic directly in a 10 marker, 15 marker, and you can also get that topic as a part of a larger topic. So today's topic in that sense is very important. It's about BIMSTEC. Now, we have been discussing some organizations and BRICS and whatnot. There will always be a cyclical routine for every organization. Please understand this. Of course, you know that it is relevant for your GS2 IR portion. I don't have to tell you that. You're smart enough for that. What I need to tell you is that every organization, every international organization has a cyclical rhythm of importance and irrelevance. Okay. So if let's say this is importance and this is irrelevance, sometimes organizations start from irrelevance. So for example, BIMSTEC, created in 1997, did not have a very grand vision to it. Okay, there was no much grand vision ki BIMSTEC ban jayega to the entire South and Southeast Asia will come together. Although the agenda was this, but there were so many other organizations. There was the SARC, there was the SCO, there was whatnot, jo ki limelight liye hue the. So 1997 it was created. Bangkok Declaration, hai na? So it was created, but eventually after having a very long cycle of irrelevance, the year is 2016 now, and in the year 2016 the Uri attack happens. Fine. When the Uri attack happens, it is very clear that India does not want to engage with Pakistan. India is not interested to engage with Pakistan. There was a very clear message. Diplomatic ties were very tensed. है ना? Visas were very tense. जैसे India Canada की situation चल रही है. India Canada don't share a border, but still the visas have been suspended. There's a lot of hostility going on. That time it was very clear we do not want to do anything with Pakistan. That means we are not interested in SARC, South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. We are not interested because Pakistan is a member. And that is where BIMSTEC comes into the picture, and it starts ascending into the cycle of importance. Fine. This is there for every organization. So if you were to see it for SARC, it started in 1985, started with importance, and now is completely irrelevant. If you see this cycle for NAM, at one point of time, very important. The entire third world was with NAM. But right now, it's irrelevant. Fine. So always see, and with this kind of arc, you will always be able to predict also कि questions कहाँ से आ सकते हैं. So for example, UPSC has been giving hints कि it is interested in BIMSTEC. So it asked a question whether BIMSTEC can replace SARC or not. Whether BIMSTEC can replace SARC, can BIMSTEC be an alternative to SARC? And this is a clear indication that a full-fledged question on BIMSTEC will come one year or the other. Fine. And that's why we are going to discuss. Now, another reason that we are discussing this particular topic is that in the year 2023, itself, which makes it very relevant for the 2024 examination, there was a landmark event when it comes to the BIMSTEC. Landmark event. ऐसा event जिसके होने के बाद ये चीज clear हो गई that BIMSTEC is important for India. The event that happened was first BIMSTEC foreign ministers meeting. Just imagine an organization created in 1997. From 1997 to 2023, एक मीटिंग भी नहीं हुई थी फॉरेन मिनिस्टर्स की. दैट मीन्स इट वाज इन द साइकिल ऑफ इररेलेवेंस. This year there has been a meeting, and Dr. S. Jaishankar has attended that meeting as well, so it clearly sends out a message that it is important for us, है ना? What is the highest level of delegation or participation that a country can do? The Prime Minister can go. What is the second highest level? The External Affairs Minister can go. ठीक है? So this is there. So BIMSTEC. Now, whenever you get a question on BIMSTEC, the basics will not fetch you additional marks. Okay. So if you mention 1997 as the year of creation, you mention, okay, the headquarter is in Dhaka. Dhaka is the headquarter. है ना? Then you mention the Bangkok Declaration, created by the Bangkok Declaration. It's not that you will get extra marks for this. But if you do not write these things, marks will definitely be deducted. Because please understand that you might be remembering all of this stuff, है ना, in your mind. And you might think कि 10 marker में मैं कैसे ये सब लिखूं? But the examiner does not know that you know this stuff, okay? If it is not there on your sheet, examiner has already assumed that you don't remember this stuff, and that's why you don't have, because many aspirants do this. है ना? They don't remember, they don't make that effort to remember. So these things, if you remember, they create a very easy way to introduce a particular organization. That BIMSTEC is a regional organization created in 1997 by the Bangkok Declaration with its headquarters at Dhaka. ठीक है? Recently, अब जैसे अगर आपको आंसर फ्रेम करना है, recently the Prime Minister has said a very beautiful thing. What has the Prime Minister said? That BIMSTEC does not just join the ecologies of South and Southeast Asia, but it also joins the ecologies of the Great Himalayas and the Bay of Bengal. So it is not just a geographical expression. What did he mean by this? It is not just a geographical expression. It is a cultural expression. It is an expression of togetherness that the people of South and Southeast Asia have together. Now let's remember the names of the members. Remembering the names is very easy for this particular organization because it is till here. It is having every letter of one member, to which you just have to add 2 letters. So, Bangladesh, Dhaka is the headquarter, India, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Thailand. Here is the Southeast Asia angle. Myanmar is the Southeast Asia angle, Thailand is the Southeast Asia angle. Bhutan, Nepal. And there is this scholar whose name is Constantino Xavier. Constantino Xavier, he writes a lot about South and Southeast Asia. So what he has written is that every member that you see right now, every member of BIMSTEC has a very strategic reason to be in this organization. So for example, the reason for India is to look for an alternative to SAARC and also to create relations with Southeast Asia, the Act East policy, and of course to counter Chinese influence in the region, be the regional hegemon. If you talk about Bhutan and Nepal, the landlocked countries, these two countries, they want to have maritime access, है ना? They want to have maritime access through India and Myanmar, and that is why they are very vibrantly a part of BIMSTEC. Although Bhutan has withdrawn itself from the BBIN corridor, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Nepal corridor, Bhutan has withdrawn itself. Why? Because Bhutan is very conservative about environment. है ना? Bhutan is a prime example of environmental conservation. Himalayan state hai, and Bhutan is not okay with connectivity corridors and so many, so many vehicles coming into Bhutan's territory. And that is why it has withdrawn from BBIN, but it has not withdrawn from BIMSTEC, because it knows that eventually maritime access is important. Fine. Similarly, Bangladesh is there, Sri Lanka is there. So they want to have a voice in the regional affairs. Hai, they don't want to remain irrelevant. That's why they are in this. Myanmar and Thailand, they want to establish relations with South Asia, primarily with India. Hai, cultural relations and whatnot. So Constantino Xavier says that every country in BIMSTEC is very strategically, has made the very strategic decision to be a part of BIMSTEC deliberately. Okay? Have this in mind. Now, GS ke paper mein, don't write scholars and all, but you can make this small flow chart wherein you explain that yes, every country has a very clear reason of being a part of this particular grouping. ठीक है जी, चलिए. Now, when you get a question, of course, you have to write the significance. So, there are multiple significances overall. Primary significance जो आपको लिखनी ही लिखनी है, that is that it houses 22% of global population, my dear. And out of this 22%, 17% is just by India. 17% population, a little more than 17% is contributed just by India. And overall, 22% of global population is in this region. How can you remember this figure? What is the mnemonic? BIMSTEC, BN. यही है ना आपका mnemonic. दो ही letters, मतलब एक ही letter है जो दो बार repeat हो रहा है, BB. So 2 BB. B is the second alphabet. 22%. ठीक है? ऐसे थोड़ा सा शायद याद रह जाए. कभी कभी ये ट्रिक्स याद आ जाती हैं. So it will help you. ठीक है? चलिए. Now, overall, क्या क्या significance है और आपको क्या क्या लिखना है? Again, I always tell in my lectures, you are not supposed to write all of these arguments because there will be no space to write all of them. जिसका भी weight आपको ज़्यादा लग रहा है, वो आप लिखें. So, for example, regional aspirations. Of course, China has expanded its regional aspirations through the string of pearls, which is a part of its Belt and Road Initiative. So this is India's way of establishing regional aspirations and also giving a message out to the world that our neighborhood is not limited to SAARC. Our neighborhood has expanded into Southeast Asia as well. Fine. Then it is a zone of geopolitical competition, of course, between India and China. There is no other actor over here. So, geopolitical significance. Then if you talk about economic factors, the trade potential of this particular region is very high. Why? Because 25% of global trade goes through this particular region of BIMSTEC. I'm not saying that 25% of global trade is happening between the BIMSTEC countries. No. The intra-organization trade is not that high, but it is in such a strategic zone of the Indo-Pacific that 25% of global trade goes through this region, and that's why whichever actor has dominance in this region will have dominance over global trade. USA dominant क्यों है overall world economy में? Because it has control, it has very targeted control over the North Atlantic sea route, which is the busiest sea route. This is America, this is Europe, this is North Atlantic sea route, busiest route between America and Europe, historical route. America has all the hegemony over it. This is what China is trying to develop in Indo-Pacific. ठीक है? That is why overall it is important. Then here, if you talk about BIMSTEC, it is named on the Bay of Bengal. It is centered around the Bay of Bengal, not named after Bay of Bengal. It is centered around Bay of Bengal. So just to make it clear, the BIMSTEC being named and centered around Bay of Bengal is very clearly giving that message that this area is full of natural reserves. Why? What kind of natural reserves? Polymetallic nodules. What is polymetallic nodules? It is concentrated fragments of metals which has multiple metals in one rock. है ना? And the Bay of Bengal region is full of these polymetallic nodules. Okay. In fact, India's deep ocean mission aims to utilize these polymetallic nodules. Okay. And for that, India would not mind the assistance of countries like, let's say, Sri Lanka or Myanmar. Because if they let's say they let us look for the polymetallic nodules even in their exclusive economic zone, then our reach will increase. है ना? वो वाली चीज हो जाती है. So that's why. Then रीजनल कोऑपरेशन में इट इज वेरी क्लियर. पहले यूपीएससी ने सवाल पूछा था कि इज इट एन ऑल्टरनेटिव टू सार्क? यस, इट इज एन ऑल्टरनेटिव टू सार्क बिकॉज सार्क हैज बीन डिफंक्ट बिकॉज ऑफ द Indo-Pak rivalry, and there is no clear indication that SAARC will actually end up going above these rivalries. So now when it's not going above these rivalries, we cannot stop our regional aspirations, and that is why we will make sure that BIMSTEC becomes the platform wherein we are exercising our right. ठीक है? Then, security-wise, if the BIMSTEC countries are inclined towards India, let's say, they will be able to resist Chinese pressure of mortgaging, of checkbook diplomacy, of debt trap diplomacy, because they'll be able to see that India is providing a more sustainable alternative to development. India is providing a more sustainable method of development, and they will side with India. Okay? Because eventually BIMSTEC would also go towards infrastructural development. That's what these people, the foreign ministers this year, they have discussed about. They have discussed about clean energy. They have discussed about these kind of things. So it will be a connective link. Strait of Malacca, which is a connective link overall, will be guarded. Potential for India to counter China and to give a kind of support to these countries who are actually reeling under the debt trap diplomacy, and provide the regional security. What is the Sagar strategy that we have? Security and growth for all in the region. And what is our approach? We want to be net security provider. So while China can continue to be an aggressor, which it has always been, we will continue to have a very positive approach towards our neighbors overall. Okay? That is the goal. This is the significance. Now, what is the importance for India? Significance overall is there, and you can club these points. Okay, you can, when you write the significance of BIMSTEC, you can write actually that you need to break it into two: general significance and specific significance for India. So primarily we are now able to bypass Pakistan. ठीक है, जैसे कि हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कहा है कि it is a linkage between the ecologies of Great Himalayas and Bay of Bengal, South and Southeast Asia. So we have successfully kept Pakistan, and we will keep Pakistan out of it, and we will continue to collaborate. ASEAN Connect, this is very important. ASEAN Connect, our Act East policy will be bolstered if we are able to utilize BIMSTEC in a good manner. है ना? Our Act East policy will be bolstered. It will be positively impacted. Market access, we will gain access, and our exports are not like China. Our exports are not dumped. ठीक है, हम लोग dump नहीं करते हैं अपने exports. Our exports are sustainable, cost wise also, production wise also. We avoid plastics that way. तो market access मिलेगा. Because Myanmar and Thailand are a part of it, and Myanmar is a neighbor, northeastern states have a border to it. So if, let's say, BIMSTEC कल को एक framework बनाता है to control insurgency in northeast India, Myanmar is also a part of it, and you know that Myanmar is a haven for these insurgents. है ना? They cross the border, they stay in Myanmar. Also, the Rohingyas that have come from Myanmar. If BIMSTEC is the forum wherein these issues can be discussed, they can be resolved. And of course, soft power is there, maritime trade and security is there for India. So some points you'll see they're common. है ना? Some points are common, and you don't have to write them again and again. What you have to do is just make sure that whatever you are writing, nothing is repetitive and everything adds value to your answer. ठीक है, तो ऐसे नहीं करना कि आप सॉफ्ट पावर एक अलग पॉइंट में लिख रहे हैं, है ना? मान लो सॉफ्ट पावर एक अलग पॉइंट में लिख रहे हैं, फिर उसके बाद जो सागर है वो आप एक अलग पॉइंट में लिख रहे हैं, फिर नेट सिक्योरिटी प्रोवाइडर आप अलग पॉइंट में लिख रहे हैं. नो. If you want to create soft power or to overall जो हमारा कल्चरल इथॉस है, जो इंडिया की रीजनल डोमिनेंस है, वो एक पॉइंट पे लिख के खत्म करो, है ना? यूपीएससी एग्जामिनर इज नॉट दैट स्टूपिड, सो दे नो व्हेन यू आर ट्राइंग टू प्ले अराउंड, सो डोंट प्ले अराउंड. ठीक है? Now, of course, every organization has some issues. What are the issues overall? Primary issue is that intra-regional trade is very low, so there is untapped potential. मतलब आप खुद सोच के देखो, ऐसा तो नहीं है कि Myanmar is a very less populated country, but what is the extent of trade that happens between India and Myanmar? Very less. चलो, बांग्लादेश के लिए we are the largest trade partner in South Asia. नेपाल के लिए we are one of the largest. But what about the other countries? है ना? तो untapped potential है. फिजिकल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर जो बनता भी है, जैसे मान लीजिए IMT ट्राइलेटरल हाईवे, देयर आर सो मेनी डिलेज इन देयर दैट वही वाली बात हो जाती है कि इंडिया प्रॉमिसेस व्हाइल चाइना डिलीवर्स. ठीक है? देयर इज एसिमेट्री अमंग मेंबर्स. सिंपल सी बात है, देयर इज बिग ब्रदर सिंड्रोम. देयर इज बिग ब्रदर सिंड्रोम. कंट्रीज आर अ लिटिल स्केप्टिकल ऑफ इंडिया एज देयर acting as their big brother as such. ठीक है? इसके अलावा if you talk about Myanmar, it is facing it has faced a military coup. It does not have a democratic government anymore, and that will be a problem when Myanmar is trying to engage with us, because again, just go back to the reason why we are not engaging with Taliban. है ना? Taliban is not a democratic state. Taliban has taken over control by force. Same with the military junta of Myanmar also, right? that is there. Perception of Indian hegemony, this is similar. Then free trade agreement. The free trade agreement between the BIMSTEC countries has not been finalized. That is a problem. ठीक है? The thing is कि एक जो framework था, एक जो comprehensive free trade agreement का framework था, वो 2004 में finalize तो हो चुका था, but still you see free trade agreement का मतलब ही क्या होता है? That you will have minimum barriers to trade. Despite having minimum barriers, despite India being such a big producer of products, we have not been able to tap into the markets of these countries. So that is a problem. Relevance of SAARC will someday or the other come back, because you know SAARC has Pakistan. That is, of course, we have intentionally not let Pakistan join BIMSTEC, but whenever we need to, just the Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji kehte the, you can change your friends and enemies, you can't change your neighbors. So eventually we will have to normalize relations with Pakistan one day or the other. ठीक है? तो ये चीज होगी. Over presence of China, the raison d'être बोलते हैं. Raison d'être. What is raison d'être? The reason for existence. So, is the reason for existence of BIMSTEC just to oppose China, if you think about it? We need to actually have a proper rationale for why we need BIMSTEC. Then there are many unresolved issues overall. So, for example, the newly emerged Kalapani issue, the Kachachivu Island issue that has emerged. With Bangladesh, there is the issue of loose borders and whatnot. So, ये सारी जो issues हैं, they are unresolved, but that is more an opportunity than a challenge in my opinion, because BIMSTEC as an organization का काम ही होना चाहिए कि ये जो unresolved issues हैं इनको solve किया जाए. Strategic importance of Afghanistan and Maldives. See, Afghanistan and Maldives need to be included in BIMSTEC, because Maldives, as you see, apart from the tourism aspect of it and the India Out campaign that was running in Maldives, it's a very strategic island, है ना? Very strategic island, so it needs to be a part of BIMSTEC. And Afghanistan, because we need to make it a point that Afghanistan is our neighboring country, है ना? अभी अगर global maps के हिसाब से चलें, Afghanistan is not our neighboring country. It is just Pakistan's neighboring country, because global maps do not recognize POK as Indian territory. So if on our insistence Afghanistan comes into BIMSTEC, we'll be able to say ki, okay, we have added on Afghanistan, our neighbor, and of course then the negotiations with Taliban, etc. The meetings are inconsistent. Consistent. The vision for South and Southeast Asia is inconsistent, and overall the projects move very slow. That is a problem. Stalled projects, slow projects, that's the reason. Now, can BIMSTEC be an alternative for SAARC? This is the exact argument which you could have written in the mains question that was asked. ठीक है? Can BIMSTEC be an alternative to SAARC? So if you need to say yes, it can be an alternative, you need to give these arguments. What are the arguments? That it is a more stable grouping because of the absence of any bilateral rivalries. है ना? Bilateral rivalries नहीं है like India, Pakistan. So it's a more stable group. More effective regional grouping. It is covering a wider area. है ना? South and Southeast Asia both. कल को Southeast Asia में से और countries भी add हो सकती हैं. मान लो Indonesia add हो जाए. है ना? Eventually it will create an entire framework. Intra-regional trade is better than what it is in SAARC. SAARC में intra-regional trade is hardly 5%. Here it is a bit more. Better connectivity prospects, because as I told you, just say IMT, trilateral highway hai, and these things. Better connectivity project. And primarily India's Act East policy. Our frame of mind is a lot towards ASEAN right now. So Act East policy को bolster करने में ये चीज मदद करेगी ही करेगी. अगेंस्ट में कुछ आर्ग्यूमेंट्स लिखना इंपॉर्टेंट है. व्हाई बिम्स्टेक कैन नॉट बी एन ऑल्टरनेटिव टू सार्क. They might be two parallel organizations, but BIMSTEC cannot replace SARC. Why? Our foreign policy works in three concentric circles. C. Raja Mohan, he writes a lot on foreign policy, etc. He says that our foreign policy runs on three concentric circles. The first concentric circle, what are concentric circles? So if this is India, 1, 2, 3. This is based on Kautilya's Mandal Siddhant. Okay. So this is India. Our first circle is our immediate neighborhood, which is the SARC countries. And we need to keep our immediate neighborhood into our highest priority. Okay. Of course, SARC countries plus China. But neighborhood first cannot be discounted. Then the connectivity prospects, though better in BIMSTEC, does not mean that if we are focusing on the connectivity projects of BIMSTEC, we will not engage in the connectivity projects of SARC or our neighborhood. Strategic relevance SARC का ज़्यादा है. South Asia में first we have to be the dominant power before being the dominant power in Southeast Asia. Inconsistency in BIMSTEC overall. What is the agenda of BIMSTEC? Is it South and Southeast Asia ka milan? Is it countering China? What is the goal? As I said, when it was created in 1997, no clarity of goal was there. तो वो clarity आना बहुत जरूरी है. And overall, it is non-inclusive. ना ही South Asia के सारे members हैं, ना ही Southeast Asia के सारे members हैं. On what basis have selective countries like I told you about Indonesia, like about Maldives, like about Afghanistan? On what basis have these countries been excluded? है ना? There's no answer to that as such. So these are for and against. और in conclusion में आपको हमेशा यही लिखना होता है that no matter what, you will be required to engage in both these associations parallelly. So BIMSTEC and SARC don't operate as a zero-sum game. ऐसा नहीं है कि बिम्स्टेक में हम एंगेज करेंगे तो हम सार्क में नहीं कर सकते, सार्क में करेंगे तो बिम. नो, दे डोंट ऑपरेट एज अ जीरो सम गेम. इंडिया हैज टू एंगेज with both the organizations parallelly, keeping immediate national interest foremost. Keeping immediate national interest foremost. ठीक है? जब भी किसी चीज की रेलेवेंस पूछी जाए, कुछ भी पूछा जाए, always put it on national interest. ठीक है? National interest करके रखना है हमने. So that's all for today. We have covered BIMSTEC as an organization. क्या रेलेवेंस है, क्या चैलेंजेस है, रिसेंटली क्या हुआ है, रिसेंटली जो फॉरेन मिनिस्टर्स की मीटिंग हुई है वो भी हमने बात कर ली. So make sure that when you are writing your answer, the pros, cons, challenges, way forward, everything will be similar for everyone. That one X factor has to be there in your answer. It can be some current affairs, it can be anything that you want to. Make sure that examiner's eye catches in your answer. It should catch the eye of the examiner. Focus on that. If you want the notes of this particular lecture, you can go to this Telegram channel, or you can simply order the books of Sunya. We have all the books for all the GS papers 1, 2, 3, 4. You can order the set, you can order a particular book, that's up to you, whatever you need. So I hope you benefited out of this lecture. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care and thank you for watching.